Hi, my name is Alex with Tech Tutorials, and today I'm going to be talking about tasks. I'm going to be teaching you when it's appropriate to use a task over a story. They look and feel and behave the same in Jira, but they're clearly very different things and they have different purposes. So in today's video, I'm going to explain to you, based on my opinion, what those differences are and when you should use one over the other. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash that subscribe button, drop a like if you get value out of this video. And if you have any questions about anything that I talk about in this video, let me know in the comment section below. Let's jump into Jira. Okay, so in Jira, when you're in the backlog view, or even when you just hit the create button, you will be greeted with the option to create an epic, a story, a bug, or a task. This can be configured to whatever you want, but out of the box, these are usually what you can create. Now, what's obviously missing from here is a subtask. You cannot create a subtask using the create button. I'm going to have a whole separate video where I talk about subtasks in the future. So again, make sure you subscribe, make sure you drop a like. But today we're going to be talking about this blue little check mark. What is the task versus the story? Atlassian doesn't really cover tasks in all that much detail. I've already looked through their Agile Coach, not much happening there. And so the one thing that I can tell you is that a story and a task and a bug, these are all siblings of each other. And what I mean by that is when I go to like this roadmap view, perfect place to highlight this. When I pick an epic and I go and create a child, you see how it says create child issue here. When I go to create that child, the options that are available to my disposal are a task, a story, or a bug. That basically tells you that these three items are treated as siblings because all three can be a child of that epic. And so the question is, well, what's the difference between the story and the task? Bug is very easy, right? Bug is reserved for just defects, problems, stuff that's not working correctly. But when you're looking at the story and you're looking at the task, what is the difference? Because Agile will tell you there's a difference, right? Agile will tell you that there's a clear definition of the story that explains what should be built. And then there's the task, how it should be built. However, Jira doesn't have that hierarchy. The tasks are not children of the story. The tasks are siblings of the story. The subtask is what we are going to refer to as the task in Agile. But in this world, in Jira's world, let me give you the best explanation that I've seen that I usually give to people. So when you're looking at a story, and I'm sure you've seen my story videos by now, when you're looking at a story, this should be value-added work. This should be things that are going to have code committed against them, and essentially that story is going to be delivered, and hopefully money is going to be made off of that story. When we're looking at a task, what I like to explain is the task should be a non-value added work that is very much still necessary to be done, but there is no value added in the sense that you're not going to sell the output of that task. You're not going to write code most times, right? You're not going to package it up and ship it and be part of the deliverable. A task is going to be just a necessary evil, something that the team member has to do. Somebody's gonna have to spend some calories, some time, some effort, right? They're gonna have to think about it, but you're just not going to bundle it up with like the release or something like that, right? And so the task should be something like spool up an S3 bucket. It should be a task like get hosting for your website, get a domain, things like that, where it's still part of the overall deliverable of what you're trying to accomplish, but they're not going to be work that you're going to want to essentially put value to them, right? They're just going to be necessary support tasks, support work that is just required for the whole thing to come together, but is not necessarily part of what you're actually going to sell to your customers. So that's really the easiest way that I typically know to explain it to folks, because since you can't embed a task and a story, the next best thing is, well, how do you use it to your advantage? Knowing that they're siblings, knowing that they're at the same hierarchy level, what can you do with them? How can you define work that you know you're absolutely going to have to deliver on versus work or tasks or activities that you just know that are they're not, I don't want to call them busy work, but they're just necessary work that just doesn't necessarily always bring value back to you. And so that's what I would reserve tasks for. And so to create the tasks back in Jira, right, in the roadmap view, you just want to make sure you hit the drop down, select the task, then you can create the task. When you're in the create button, same thing, make sure you select task here. This will change your fields based on if you're collecting different information for your task. The other way is back in the backlog view. When you come to create an issue, you'll have the same drop down option here. And then when you do have an epic and you essentially want to add a task to that epic, you can come back in here, click the little plus sign, and then you can select the task here. So those are just some very quick and easy. This is how you actually create tasks in Jira. And now you know why you would use a task over a story. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps clarify. If you've ever kind of just pondered on what's the difference and you've actually been trying to nest them, don't do that. The tasks and the stories are never going to be able to be like a parent-child relationship. So you have to use them as siblings. In the next video, we'll be talking about subtasks. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you drop a like on this video, and let me know in the comments, how do you use tasks? This is just how I do it. This is just the recommendation that I give my team, but I'd love to know, what is your technique? What are you reserving tasks for? For full disclosure, on some teams that are not quite agile, they're just like, they know that they want to use Jira, stories are too confusing. So what I typically do for them is I'll even remove stories altogether and just leave them with a task, because most folks are familiar with just the verbiage task. It's something that they need to do, and story is kind of like this foreign term to them, right? Because they're not used to the world of Agile. So from that perspective, I usually encourage tasks to just be any work that needs to get done. But when you're strictly talking Agile teams, there is a very clear distinction between the story and the task, and this is just kind of what I wanted to tell you as to how I coach the teams. But again, I want to know how you do it. I want to let me know in the comment section what your strategies, what your thoughts are. Am I off base here? Let me know. I have a little bit of thick skin, so just let me know in the comments. All right, make sure you subscribe, make sure you drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.